السلام عليكم الشيخ.
Alaikum assalam wabarakatuh. We'll get started in probably just a couple of minutes.
Okay, no worries.
All right, let's go ahead and get started. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين سيدنا ونبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. ومن تبعهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين اللهم اجعلنا منهم سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم اللهم علمنا ما ينفعنا وانفعنا بما علمتنا وزدنا علما وعملا وتقبلا برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. Mr. As you always do, first and foremost by praising and thanking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, showing him our utmost gratitude and appreciation, asking Allah to bless, protect, honor, and compliment our beloved Prophet, our messenger, our role model, Muhammad Rasulullah, his family, friends, companions, everyone that follows their way until the end of time. Allah, you are so perfect, we have no knowledge except for what you have taught us. So teach us those things that are beneficial to us, allow us to benefit from what you have taught us, increase us in beneficial knowledge and accepted actions. I mean, oh Allah, we know that studying, seeking knowledge, learning about the Quran is a good deed. Allah, accept this from us and use it as a means to respond to our dua for our brothers and sisters who are being massacred in Palestine. Allah, use this as a we are doing tawassul with our good deeds, that you make our study of Arabic, our study of the Quran, more means, a way for you to be more pleased with us so that you accept our dua in regards to them. Ameen.
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 Sorry, my surface just froze. Okay, I might need a couple. My surface is totally frozen.
Assalamualaikum.
Okay.
Which page we are in?
We're going to start chapter 52.
Oh, so 51 finished?
Yeah, we finished 51.
Oh, sorry, I missed the last week. So, okay.
Chapter 52, Sheikh?
Mm-hmm. All right, in the meantime, I'm not able to, my surface is totally stuck right now. So can someone read the chapter for us? Rosemary, can you go ahead?
Yeah, I can. Chapter 52, right?
Yeah. On
Okay.
Mawdi.
All right, perfect. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Introduction, chapter 52, Al-Fi'lu Al-Madi Wal-Mudari. Introduction to Al-Fi'lu Al-Madi. Our study of Al-Fi'lu Al-Madi will be split into two categories: standard usage and non-standard usage. Standard usage is when the fi'l Madi is used according to its expected grammatical function to express an action occurring in the past. Even within standard usage, the fi'l Madi can serve a variety of implications. Non-standard usage is when the fi'l Madi translates as something other than the past tense. Standard usage of al-fi'l al-Madi. Plain past. Plain past refers to the standard usage of the fi'l Madi. Within plain past, the fi'l Madi can be used to talk about events that occurred in the recent past. as well as events that occurred in the distant past. Take a look at an example of each. وليست التوبة للذين يأملون السيئات حتى إذا حضر أحدهم الموت قال إني تبت الآن. Repentance is not for those who do evil until a time when death comes to one of them. Then he says, I have repented now. In this ayah, tubtu is being used to talk about an event occurring in the recent past. خلق الله السماوات والأرض بالحق إن في ذلك لآيات للمؤمنين. He created the skies and the earth with truth and purpose. No doubt there is a sign for the believers in that. In this ayah, khalaqa is used to talk about an event that occurred in the distant past. A brief glance at the context can help determine whether the recent past or the distant past is intended. Repeated past. The Madi can be used to talk about an action that occurred repeatedly in the past. Take a look at the following examples. فَتَوَلَّى عَنْهُمْ وَقَالَ يَا قَوْمِ لَقَدْ أَبْلَغْتُكُمْ رِسَالَاتِ رَبِّي وَنَصَحْتُ لَكُمْ. Then he turned away from them and said, my people, I have certainly delivered the message of my master to you, and I have advised you. Here, Shu'aib is saying that he delivered the message and advised his people. There is no doubt that these actions occurred repeatedly, not just once.
I have one question. Sorry,
Yes.
first one question. So, is there anything to indicate the action has been repeated or it has happened only once by looking at the verb?
But sometimes we have context. Typically, when you have not in this case of Maldi, but when you say kana plus mudari.
Okay, I see. Okay, so in this case, so in this particular example, it just by looking at the context, it may not be one time, it could be multiple times. Okay.
Yeah, this right now is just context. Just context. Continue.
Okay.
وهو الذي أنزل
Yeah. وهو الذي أنزل من السماء ماء فأخرجنا به نبات كل شيء. He is the one who sent down water from the sky. Then he brought forth plants of all sorts using it. The sending down of rain is an action that has occurred repeatedly. تلك الرسل فضلنا بعضهم على بعض منهم من قلم الله ورفع
كلم الله
تلك الرسل فضلنا بعضهم على بعض منهم من قلم الله ورفع بعضهم درجات. Those are the messenger we preferred some of them over others. Among them are those who Allah spoke to, and he raised some of them in ranks. The messenger that Allah spoke to were spoken to on more than one occasion. Remember that Mudari plus Kana can also be used to
Kana plus Mudari, but yeah, same
thing.
Oh,
okay. Remember that Kana plus Mudari can also be used to express a continuous past tense action. This template is commonly translated as used to or was ing. The difference between Kana plus Mudari And the regular Madi is that kana plus mudare indicates a habit or a continuous action. Singular past. The Madi can also be used to talk about a singular event, an action that occurred only once. Take a look at the following examples. خلق الله السماوات والأرض بالحق إن في ذلك لآيات للمؤمنين.
لآية
إن في ذلك لآية للمؤمنين. He created the skies and the earth with truth and purpose. No doubt there is a sign for the believers in that. The creation of the skies and the earth was a single event. وَأَرْسَلْنَاكَ لِلنَّاسِ رَسُولًا وَكَفَى بِاللَّهِ شَهِيدًا. And we sent you to the people as a messenger, and Allah is enough as a witness. The messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam was sent once. This ayah describes a singular event. Note that kana plus madi can also be used to indicate a singular past event. Take a look at the following example. In kuntu qultuhu faqad alimtahu. If I said it once, you would already know it. Here, Isa is saying that had he said it even once, Allah would already know it. Kana plus madi indicates a single occurrence. Non-standard usage of al-fi'l al-madi. Non-standard usage of al-fi'l al-madi covers cases in which the fi'l madi is not necessarily translated as one. Prayer, dua. The past tense can be used when making dua for someone. It can be used either positively or negatively. Jazakallahu khairan. A positive example would be Shafaqallah, Ghafarallahu lak, Barakallahu feek, Jazakallahu khaira.
Right. If we were to literally translate all of these, Shafaq Allah would mean what?
Shifa, to give shifa?
Like Allah, may Allah give you shifa, right?
If you were to translate this as a standard fi'il madi sentence.
Oh, I see. Allah gave shifa to you.
Yeah.
Allah gave cure to you, right? It's like
yeah,
a one-time
meaning already madi. Already happened.
Yeah.
Ghafarallahu lak, Allah already forgave you.
Hmm.
Barakallah, Allah already blessed you.
Blessed you.
Rahimahullah.
What?
Rahimahullah, like when somebody dies, right? Like you say Rahimahullah, Rahimahullah, it's a female, right? So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has had mercy on that individual.
Yeah, so the point here is, obviously, in this context, we're not going to translate it or even understand it as this is a fi'il madi referring to an event that happened in the past. Rather, this is understood as dua. Yani shafak Allah bima'na, like Allahumma ishfihi, right? Oh Allah, you give cure to this person, right? Shafak Allah, nas'alullaha an yashfiyaka, right? I'm making dua to Allah that He cure you, right? And that goes for all of these. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
With radiyallahu an, rahimahumullah, alayhi, things like that.
Yep.
So that means if in a dua, if the madi is mentioned, that means it's a continuous action.
No, here this is under the case of dua, meaning it's its own separate category. Don't think of continuous, non-continuous action for this.
Okay.
This is bima'na dua. We're asking Allah.
Okay.
Right? For all of these, you can make it as'alullaha an yashfiyak. As'alullaha an yaghfira lak.
Okay.
As'alullaha an yubarika feek. Make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
A negative example would be la'anahullah. Qutilal insanu ma akfara. May the human be cursed, how disbelieving he is. The fi'l madi in this ayah is not literal. It is being used as a dua For this reason, it translates as may the human be cursed, rather than human was cursed.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
Promises and warnings. The Mahdi can be used to make promises or to issue warnings. Though both promises and warnings are events that are to occur in the future, the past is used as a form of emphasis or tawqid, as though to say that it is so sure to happen, it is as though it is already done. Take a look at the following example. Inna kafaynakal mustahzi'in. Certainly we will protect you against the mockers. In this ayah, Allah is making a promise to his Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He uses the Mahdi as a form of assurance and emphasis.
Why did the book translate we in capital and bold?
That's the royal we, basically.
No, because that it is talking about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, right?
I mean, but never else do they put we in both W and E in caps.
Yep, emphasis.
Why? Why?
Because it comes in.
Go ahead.
No, it comes in the Madi, right?
Well, all of these came in the. So why didn't he say وَهُوَ الَّذِي أَنزَلَ? Why didn't he put he capital H capital E or خَلَقَ السَّمَاوَاتِ with capital H capital E?
Tawqid.
وَأَرْسَلْنَاكَ capital we.
No, I mean those are all mudari. It is Madi.
These are all Madi too. That's the.
Oh, okay.
Perhaps the thing he's going at here is this is Jumla Ismiya with the repetition of inna plus
Kafayna.
nahnu plus then you bring the verb kafaynaka. Inna kafaynaka.
So the we is repeated twice.
We is repeated twice with the inna at the beginning for emphasis. It's not just nahnu kafaynaka. That would already be one level up, but it's inna kafaynaka.
So I mean, what are you trying to say? I actually don't get it. So it's because of the emphasis or what?
Yeah, meaning, like if we look at how we could build this sentence up. We can obviously just say I can just say kafaynaka, right? That's like level 1. Level 2 is nahnu kafaynaka. That's level 2 because now I made a jumla ismiya, right? And then I repeated my nahnu, and then I can say inna kafaynaka. And then if someone wants to perhaps go even more, inna nahnu qad kafaynaka.
Oh, okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay.
So the capital is just because of that emphasis, right?
Yeah. Okay, continue.
Okay. ونادى أصحاب الجنة أصحاب النار أن قد وجدنا ما وعدنا ربنا حقا فهل وجدتم ما وعد ربكم حقا. And the people of Jannah will call out to the people of hell, saying, we have found what our master promised us to be. So did you find what your master promised to be true? This ayah describes a scene in the afterlife. The Mahdi is often used to describe such scenes to emphasize that they are sure to occur. This emphasis also serves as a warning.
Right, so in this case, right, this is completely just based off of context.
Yeah.
Right? Because I mean, in our reality, right, this hasn't happened yet. We're still in this dunya before Yawm al-Qiyamah. Okay.
وَنُفِخَ فِي الصُّورِ فَصَعِقَ مَنْ فِي السَّمَاوَاتِ وَمَنْ فِي الْأَرْضِ إِلَّا مَنْ شَاءَ اللَّهُ ثُمَّ نُفِخَ فِيهِ أُخْرَى فَإِذَا هُمْ قِيَامٌ يَنْظُرُونَ. And the horn will be blown into, and whoever is in the skies and whoever is in the earth will fall down unconscious, except whom Allah wills. Then it will be blown into again, and suddenly they will be standing and watching. This ayah describes a scene on the Day of Judgment. The Mahdi is often used to describe such scenes to emphasize that they are sure to occur. This emphasis serves as a warning. When the Mahdi is used for promises or warnings, it translates as mudari, a device of emphasis such as certainly or no doubt can also be added to capture the rhetorical implication that comes with using the Mahdi to describe a future event.
And so that's an important thing to note, right? Where whenever we're translating ayat that have a fi'l madi, but we know that that thing is going to happen in the future, then automatically we can add in some level of tawqeed or certainty in the way we translate it. So any event about half of Juz'ama, everything about the Day of Judgment, إِذَا السَّمَاءُ انشَقَّتْ إِذَا زُلْزِلَتِ الْأَرْضُ زِلْزَالًا, right? All of these are madi, but when we say it, then we translate it with an added level of emphasis, because the point is mudari' for sure gonna happen, right? Okay, continue.
Silatul Mawsul. When a fi'l Mahdi appears in Silatul Mawsul, it can be translated either as a Mahdi or as a Mudariya depending on context and flow. Take a look at the following examples. وَمَنْ أَحْسَنُ قَوْلًا مِّمَّنْ دَعَا إِلَى اللَّهِ وَعَمِلَ صَالِحًا وَقَالَ إِنَّنِي مِنَ الْمُسْلِمِينَ. And who is better in terms of speech, that the one who calls towards Allah and does good and says, certainly I am from among those who submit. Here, the af'al in the sila are all madi. However, it would not make sense to say that these actions occurred only in the past and are no longer occurring. These af'al are translated in the present tense. الذي خلق الموت والحياة ليبلوكم أيكم أحسن عملا وهو العزيز الغفور. The one who created death and life to test you, which of you is better in terms of actions, and he is the mighty and the forgiving. The contents of the sila in this ayah clearly describe a past event. In this case, the Mahdi is translated as is.
Okay.
Min
Up to there, are we all good?
Yeah.
He's not really giving us the details about when to expect this, right? But just giving us an idea that, honestly, if you think about it, a lot of this stuff we've already kind of implicitly known, right? When we've gone through all of the ayat, right, we can tell a difference when kana is supposed to be, or when maldi is just supposed to be regular past tense, opposed to some emphasis and things like that.
At home, I told to stay.
Okay. Continue. Haythu.
Just one question. The other example, وَمَنْ أَحْسَنُ قَوْلًا مِمَّنْ دَعَا right إلى الله وعمل الصالح. How is that is a sila musul, musul?
How is it?
Yeah, because of a
Man.
min man.
Man.
Okay, but man means it is mostly the shartiyat, right?
But here it's sila.
Well, how do you grammatically analyze this?
وَمَنْ أَحْسَنُ قَوْلًا مِنَ الَّذِي دَعَا.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
Then man, the one who.
Okay. Okay.
Right here, because A, it's starting here. وَمَنْ أَحْسَنُ قَوْلًا مِمَّنْ. That's number one. Number two, there's no jawab shart. Anyway, even if we were to think that, what's the
Okay. Okay.
And this should be than. Over here. And who is better in terms of speech than the one, not that the one.
Okay.
Okay. All right. حيث من حيث.
حيث من حيث. When a fi'l madi follows the word حيث, it can be translated either as a madi or as a mudare, depending on context and flow. حيث means wherever. Min حيث means from the place where. Take a look at the following examples. وَقُلْنَا يَا آدَمُ أسكن أنت وزوجك الجنة وكلا منها رغدا حيث شئتما. We said, Adam, leave you and your wife in paradise and eat from it freely wherever you want. Allah is speaking to Adam and Hawa and telling them how they should live in paradise. The speech revolves around their future in paradise. For this reason, the word after haythu makes most sense translated in the mudare.
And plus is also, right, one of the contexts is the meaning itself, but also it's paired with an amr. Right? So you wouldn't necessarily say something in the past right after you give an amr to do something right now. So eat. Minha, eat from this garden from wherever you want, not from wherever you wanted. That doesn't make sense. Okay.
وَاقْتُلُوهُمْ حَيْثُ ثَقِفْتُمُوهُمْ وَأَخْرِجُوهُمْ مِنْ حَيْثُ أَخْرَجُوكُمْ. Kill them wherever you find them and expel them from the place where they expelled you. The first haytu appears in the context of a command concerning the present and the future. The second haytu appears in the context of what happened to the Muslims.
All right, so
وَلَمَّا دَخَلُوا مِنْ حَيْثُ أَمَرَهُمْ أَبُوهُمْ. And when they entered from the place where their father commanded them. The context of this ayah is the story of the journey of Yusuf's brother to Egypt. Their father commanded them to enter Egypt from specific entrance before they departed. For this reason, it is translated in the past.
Right, and so in both of these cases where we're translating in the past, the I think what's a good way for us to like label this, because right, obviously we said وَكُلَا مِنْهَا رَغَدًا حَيْثُ شِئْتُمَا, from wherever you want. But then here وَقُتُلُوهُمْ حَيْثُ ثَقِفْتُمُوهُم, right? And then kill them wherever ثَقِفْتُمُوهُم, you find them. Right? This isn't wherever you have found them, but wherever you do find them. وَأَخْرِجُوهُم مِنْ حَيْثُ أَخْرَجُوكُم. Right? And then wherever they have kicked you out from. And the same thing, مِنْ حَيْثُ أَمَرَهُمْ أَبُوهُم. Perhaps It should just be a matching of pronouns in some cases, right? Because if we see here, kula antum, antuma, and shi'tuma antuma, so that it matches up. Uqtuluhum antum, thaqiftumuhum antum, so they match up. Because you're telling them, you go do something where you're doing this, or where you have done this, or where you will find this. Whereas here is وَأَخْرِجُوهُمْ أَنْتُمْ مِنْ حَيْثُ أَخْرَجُوكُمْ هُمْ. See how here there's a change of pronoun between how the amr is being combined with something else. Right, so this is أنتما أنتما أنتم أنتم. But here we have أنتم and then hum. And the same thing here. دخلوا هم حيث أمرهم أبوهم. Maybe it's just some things to help us, point us in the right direction. But again, honestly, anyone translating this, you probably want to say and kill them wherever you have found them, and expel them from where, in the second one it would make sense, but in the first one you probably wouldn't do that. Okay, next.
Okay. Hamzatul taswiya. The words sawa'un ala are almost always followed by hamza, a hamza or fi'l madi. The word and another word. Let me read that one more time. The words sawa'un ala are almost always followed by a hamza, a fi'l madi, the word and another word.
Right, so basically what we're following, sawa'un alaykum, alayhim, for example. A fa'altahum and then something. So we have this pronoun will match this pronoun, and we're going to see a fi'il something. And when we see the examples, everything will click, inshallah.
Okay. This template is known as Hamzatul Taswiya and translates as it is the same for acts, whether or. The af'al that appear in this template translate as mudari. Take a look at the following examples to understand how this template is structured and translated. إن الذين كفروا سواء عليهم أأنذرتهم أم لم تنذرهم لا يؤمنون. Certainly those who disbelieve, it is the same for them whether you warn them or do not warn them, they will not believe. وَإِن تَدْعُوهُمْ إِلَى الْهُدَى لَا يَتَّبِعُوكُمْ سَوَاءٌ عَلَيْكُمْ أَدَوْتُمُوهُمْ أَمْ أَنْتُمْ صَامِتُونَ. And if you invite them to guidance, they will not follow you. It is the same for you all, whether you invite them or whether you are silent.
Right, so we see this template, right? Sawa'un alayhim, and then followed by a anzartahum am lam tunzirhum. Same thing. Sawa'un alaykum ad'awtumuhum am antum. Right, so we're going to see this pronoun three times in this, the ala, the fi'il madi, and then the next thing.
No, but I don't. Excuse me. The sawa'un alaykum, is that pronoun needs to be matched with something or not?
Yes, because yeah, right. Because alaykum. Well, what is sawa'un alaykum? You're doing something. Ad'awtumuhum. You need to see this pronoun somewhere in both cases. Because I can't say it's the same for you whether, I mean, I guess you can, it's just a little bit weird. It's the same for you whether this pen is silver or these glasses are black. Like, what does that have to do with you? It can work, but usually it's the same whether you do this or whether you do that. It's the same for them, whether this happens to them or that happens to them. So that's why that pronoun is usually repeated. It's the same.
But this part does Sawa'un alaykum. That means it is the same to you all, right?
Yeah.
Why it is translated same for them?
Wait, where? No. Same for all of you, for you.
No, alaykum. The kum refers to you all, correct?
Yeah, which is right here.
Okay, but it is the same for them. Oh, in my book it says same for them. It's wrong.
Okay. No, that's the
Okay,
type.
okay. Don't make sense. It's a typo error there.
Yeah.
Have you guys seen a typo error there? Either Omar or Rosberg in your book?
What was that?
No, it is in my book, or that book also have the same problem.
I think it was only in yours because Frozen Code didn't have a issue. But
Okay.
what I also did was I got the document for this, so that's why I'm making the edits.
Okay, so you can note it down because the book I have is it is same for them. That's why I was just confused.
No. Thank you for that. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, continue.
سواء عليهم أستغفرت لهم أم لم تستغفر لهم لن يغفر الله لهم إن الله لا or do not seek forgiveness for them. Allah will not forgive them. Certainly Allah, He does not guide a corrupt nation.
So this Madi on the Sabah we translate as Mudari?
Yeah. Because if you can't say it's the same for them whether you did do that or you didn't do that.
Okay.
Meaning whether if you do this or you don't do this, it's the same. If you eat, not if you ate or you didn't eat. If you eat or you don't eat is going to be the same.
Okay.
Okay, continue.
Lawla. Recall that lawla means why not, or if only when lawla is followed by a fi'l madi. It can translate either as madi or mudare. Take a look at the following examples. فَيَقُولَ رَبِّي لَوْلَا أَخَّرْتَنِي إِلَى أَجْلٍ قَرِيبٍ. Then he will say, my master, why don't you reprieve me for a little while? The request being made is a request regarding the present. For this reason, it makes most sense to translate as mudare. وقالوا لولا نزل هذا القرآن على رجل من القريتين عظيم. And they said, why was this Quran not sent down upon a great man from the two towns? The sending down of the Quran is a past event. For this reason, it makes most sense to translate it as Madi.
It's and they really don't give us a break for examples. Okay. Almost there. الجملة الشرطية.
الجملة الشرطية. As we learned previously, all of the adawatul sart, adawatul sart, except for law, push the meaning to the fi'l madi or fi'l madi to mudari. If both the madi and the mudari translate the same way as jumlatu shartiya, this leaves us wondering why one would be used over the other. Generally, when the madi is used in the jumlatu shartiya, it indicates a one-time event. when the mudari is used, it indicates a recurring event.
Mhm.
Take a look at the following examples. In tubdu sadaqati فنئما هي وإن تكفوها وتؤتوها الفقراء فهو خير لكم. If you disclose your charities, then what a beautiful thing they are. And if you conceal them and give them to the poor, then it is better for you. Giving charity publicly and privately are actions that repeat. For this reason, the mudari is used.
Right here, in tubdu sadaqat, bada yabdu, to make something apparent, to do something in public. So if you donate publicly, people are seeing you doing it. فَنِعِمَّا هِي. Ni'imma is from ni'm, like ni'ma. Remember when we did those special verbs? How good is it? Ni'ma rajul, how good of a man is he? Right? Opposite of bi'sa. Right? وَبِئْسَ مَثْوَى الْمُتَكَبِّرِ. How terrible of a place is it? Right? So how good is it that you're doing that? Right? وَإِن تُخْفُوهَا. But if you conceal it, you keep it, you hide it, and you still give it to the poor, فَهُوَ خَيْرٌ لَكُمْ. Then that is better for you.
So there is no Madi here, correct?
No, meaning they're both Madi. Bada yabdu Madi. Khafa yakhfu or akhfa yukhfi. So in this case,
Okay.
we're looking at the inshartiyya
No,
with
but
the
Tubudu, sorry, Tubudu, how that become Madi?
Bada yabdu. It's naqis.
Okay. I mean, Yabdu is the Mudari, right?
Yeah.
But why you say Tubudu is Madi?
No. I said mudari. Sorry.
Okay.
Sorry. If I said maldi, that's my bad. Yeah. Mudari.
Okay, got it.
In this example, in this ayah, tubdu, tukhfu, both mudari.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right? And then here now we see maldi.
وَإِن طَلَّقَهَا فَلَا تَحِلُّ له من بعد حتى تنكح زوجا غيره. Then if he divorces her, she will not be permissible to him after that until she marries someone else. Divorce between couples is not something that is repeated and renewed. For this reason, the Madi is used.
Yeah, because if you think of فَإِن يُطَلِّقُهَا, like what if he keeps divorcing her? Like what does that mean, right?
Yeah. Okay. وَمَنْ يَشْكُرْ فَإِنَّمَا يَشْكُرُ لِنَفْسِهِ وَمَنْ كَفَرَ فَإِنَّ اللَّهَ غَنِيٌّ حَمِيدٌ. Whoever is grateful, then he is only grateful for his own benefit. And whoever is ungrateful, then certainly Allah is free of need and worthy of praise and thanks. Gratitude is something that must be renewed constantly. It is not a one-time event. For this reason, the mudari is used. Ingratitude or disbelief, on the other hand, is something that a person falls in. It does not have to be renewed or refreshed. For this reason, the madi is used.
Right, so every time you do shukr, every single time, yashkuru li nafsi. It's for your own benefit. I do shukr right now, in 5 minutes, 10 minutes, that's all to my benefit. But the second I do one kufranun ni'mah, right? Then any time that happens, the one time it happens, then no doubt Allah, He has no need. Allah, He is far above, right?
Yeah, that's amazing. They weren't really focused on that.
Yeah, but the good thing to note is, I would think, alhamdulillah, that this entire thing we've read, we kind of already know it a little bit in our brain.
Yeah.
Right? Everything we've translated, we've kind of already been doing this. This is just spelling it out for us. Okay, continue.
Al-Fi'l al-Mudari. Recall that in terms of standard use, Al-Fi'l Mudari is used for the present and future tense. As far as non-standard use goes, we will be looking at three usages. Usage 1, painting a picture. Sometimes the Quran uses the mudare when telling a story from the past or relaying past events. Telling a past event as though it is occurring in the present captivates the listener and helps them visualize the event. Take a look at the following example. وَإِذْ نَجَّيْنَاكُمْ مِنْ آلِ فِرْعَوْنَ يَسُومُونَكُمْ سُوءَ الْعَذَابِ يُذَبِّحُونَ أَبْنَاءَكُمْ وَيَسْتَحْيُونَ نِسَاءَكُمْ. And remember, when we saved you from the people of Pharaoh, they inflict on you the worst type of punishment and slaughter your children and let your women live. Allah is reminding the children of Israel of the trials that they went through. He uses the mudari to make them recall or picture the events more vividly.
Right, because normally this is وَإِذْ نَجَّيْنَاكُمْ مِنْ آلِ فِرْعَوْنَ. Right, so the najjayna, that's madi. Najjaynakum.
Yeah.
Right, najja, yunajji. It's not وَإِذْ, when we, it says we already did that. But then everything in that is then brought into mudari'.
And they have not learned the lesson.
Yeah.
ألم تر أن الله أنزل من السماء ماء فتصبح الأرض مخضرة إن الله لطيف خبير. Have you not seen that Allah sent water down from the sky, then the earth becomes green? Certainly Allah is subtle and informed. There is a switch to mudari partway through the ayah. The mudari is used to talk about the earth becoming green to allow listeners to visualize and appreciate this miracle of nature.
Maybe perhaps one way to translate this is, don't you know? Even here, alam tara is not always have you seen, but don't you know that Allah sends rain down from the sky? So even here, anna Allah, yani bima'na anna Allah yunzilu minas. Don't you know that Allah has sent rain down from the sky? Don't you know Allah continuously sends rain down from the sky? And that rain is then used to make the earth come out and grow green and vegetation. Right?
You know, the day the Israelis, they cut water to Gaza and subhanAllah, it started raining, you know?
I didn't know that.
Yeah. May Allah curse the Yahudi.
The term to use is Sahayina. Sahayina. Right? Meaning Zionist. Right? Because our Yahud, we have a theological religious issue with them, right? But there are Yahud that are not Zionist and who are exactly fighting for the same cause. And so the term we should use is Sahayina, Zionist.
Yeah, I meant the Sahayina. Yahud the Sahayina.
Okay. Emphatic. We're here, right? Yes. Emphatic.
Yeah. Emphatic command. The mudari can be used to issue commands. When the mudari is used for this purpose, it is more emphatic than a regular amr. The difference between the two is similar to the difference between saying, don't go to that party, amr, and you are not going to that party, mudari. The latter is more authoritative and assertive. وَإِذْ أَخَذْنَا مِيثَاقَكُمْ لَا تسفكون دماءكم ولا تخرجون أنفسكم من دياركم ثم أقررتم وأنتم تشهدون. And remember when we took a pledge from you, you will not spill your own blood and will not expel yourself from your own homes. Then you acknowledge while witnessing. وَإِذْ أَخَذْنَا مِيثَاقَ بَنِي إِسْرَائِيلَ لَا تَعْبُدُونَ إِلَّا اللَّهَ. And remember, when we took a pledge from the children of Israel, you will not worship anyone except from Allah.
Right? And so here we already see a context. This is usually preceded again with the madi, and within that madi, we're going to see this usage.
Yeah. وَالْمُطَلَّقَاتُ يَتَرَبَّصْنَ بِأَنفُسِهِنَّ ثَلَاثَةَ قُرُوءٍ. Divorced women wait by themselves for 3 periods. وَالْوَالِدَاتُ يُرْضِعْنَ أَوْلَادَهُنَّ حَوْلَيْنِ كَامِلَيْنِ. Mothers nurse their children for 2 full rounds.
The first two, I think, are good. Even the third one, right? But here there's some room for basically interpretation and understanding, right? Because particularly for the fourth one, what they're implying by putting this example here is that this is an amr, right? That this is an amr that mothers are supposed to like go nurse your children for hawl, yani that should be a year. It should be a year. Saying that is an amr, but if that was an amr, then most women would not be able to live up to this, right? So this is basic two things. This is a reverse ruling in the sense that basically nursing counts up to 2 years, number one, and number two is in some standard societies and environments, women nurse up to 2 years, as opposed to this being an amr. Whereas this one, وَالْمُطَلَّقَاتُ يَتَرَبَّصْ, oh, if I want to do 2 quru, it's okay. If I want to do 4, no, you can't pick 1, 2. It has to be once the third one is done, then the divorce is fully complete. But for the walidat, this is a what we call khabar. It is not amr. Now in all of these, this is khabar bima'na amr. Everybody get that? Khabar bima'na amr. There's a statement. The meaning is amr though. Right? For the first 3 is all khabar bima'na amr. This fourth one is not that category. Let me just make a point there.
So the difference between third and fourth is by meaning only, like, one happens one because I think the latter is more authoritative and assertive, right? So is it just by the meaning of it, or what's the grammatical?
You're saying like, how do I know this is not the case?
Yeah.
This is known. Basically, one aspect is how did the Sahaba and the early scholars understand it. No one said a woman has to nurse her child for 2 complete years. That's number one. And number two, even if you think about practicality, if a woman just stops having milk after 6 months, 9 months, 13 months, 18 months, what is she sinful? And that is way more common than, for example, someone who's like, Allah tells her to pray 5 times a day. What if I'm unconscious? Like that would be like saying, all of you pray for 45 times a day, but we're all sleeping every single day, right? And so this practically also would be under la yukallifullahu nafsan illa wus'aha. Like would be a ruling that's too heavy, a lot of women would not be able to, carry this out. Again, this is basically saying the typical women can nurse up to 2 years. That's meaning one. And number two is typically in some societies, women would nurse up to 2 years.
Yeah, so what kind of stumps me here is because the third and fourth are just mudare, right? And this the paragraph above that says the latter, which is the mudare, is more authoritative and assertive. Maybe I'm not understanding that well.
No, so this works, right? I think this part of it's more authoritative and assertive. It depends. Number one, that depends on context. I think that was usually the case. But for us to know how is this one not in that category, it's number one, just knowing how the Sahaba understood this, number one. And number two, just an understanding of reality that this would just be impossible or this would be extremely difficult to apply across all women. Again, it would be like Allah saying, الرجال, or it would be like saying والوالدات يولدن 10 أطفال. Women are to all have 10 children. Like, wait, practically, like, if that was to be said, that's like, wait, that is hard, if not impossible, for a lot of women, right? Or same thing for the men. Men are supposed to have 10 children. That's not an easy task to complete for an average human being. Maybe in a certain time, in a certain generation, that would have been fine, right? And that could be the norm. But to apply that always and forever doesn't make sense. Whereas praying 5 times a day, the exceptions are rare, right? The 3 periods, the exceptions are rare. All the exceptions are given in Surah Talaq. Here, you don't really need an exception. Don't kill people. Don't kick people out of your homes. If for whatever reason there's a war, then that is an exception. Whereas this, everything would be an exception. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It's based off of meaning, not in terms of context. Meaning.
So which does not apply in war, or which applies in war?
Wait, what?
Were you just talking about something about war?
I'm saying this part of لا تسفكون دماءكم ولا تخرجون أنفسكم من دياركم. But even here, that doesn't really apply. You should never be killing your own people and kicking them out of your own homes unless they, violate the laws of Allah. Right? Within this doesn't mean, right, if someone, is a highway robber, right, or someone kills someone, oh, sorry, we can't kill you because of this. No, don't go killing your people unless they then do something in which their death is religiously called for.
Okay, I see. Jazakallah.
Yeah. Okay, continue.
Okay. When a fi'l mudari follows id, it can be translated either in the past or the future, depending on context.
So just one last thing, right? So on this point, right, this concept is basically like I mentioned, this is khabar بمعنى أمر. I think this is more less of a grammar thing, more of a fiqh thing. But then we also have amr بمعنى khabar, right? Or maybe that's not the best way to say it, but basically what we have sometimes where we have an amr, but the amr is really just if you want to, right? What is that? Right, Allah, He says, if you have slaves, فكاتبوهم إن علمتم فيهم خيرا. Right, والذين يبتغون الكتاب مما ملكت أيمانكم. If you have a slave that wants to be free, فكاتبوهم إن علمتم فيهم خيرا. Even in my tone, right, I'm not saying فكاتبوهم. Technically, this is So let me step back a little bit. Mukataba is if a person has a slave and the slave says, I want to buy my freedom. So essentially what the slave does is the slave will basically earn some money that goes into like a joint account between slave and owner. And then if he says, once I get $100, then I'm free. So the slave is earns $100, it's joint between them. And then once it hits 100, then the master says, all right, I take the 100, you are free to go. That's mukataba, right? فَكَاتِبُهُمْ إِنْ عَلِمْتُمْ فِيهِمْ خَيْرًا. So give them, meaning give them that option, as opposed to give each and every single, do mukatab with all of your slaves. That's not the meaning here according to most of the Sahaba. Right, if we see فَكَاتِبُهُمْ نَدْبٌ مِّنَ اللَّهِ. Right, it's an encouragement, recommendation from Allah. La ijab. Right, it's not mandatory. And I think some people do say it's wajib, but again, many of the scholars and the Sahaba said no, it's not wajib. So there you can, technically it's not bima'na khabar. I'm trying to think of an example. Let's see if I can quickly pull up something. Right? The famous hadith, إِذَا لَمْ تَسْتَحِي فَاصْنَعْ مَا شِئْتَ. فَاصْنَعْ, if you do not have haya, you do not feel shy, ashamed, you have no moral compass in that sense, فَاصْنَعْ مَا شِئْتَ. This is amr, فَاصْنَعْ, إِصْنَعْ. But the meaning here is not you go do it, يعني أنت تصنع ما شئت. You're just gonna do what you want. Does that make sense? If you do not have modesty, shyness, bashfulness, shame in front of Allah, you're going to do whatever you want. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. If
Yeah. Id. When a fi'l mudari follows id, it can be translated either in the past or the future depending on context. Generally, if the context is the afterlife, it translates in the future. If the context is a past event, it translated as a madi. Take a look at the following examples. وَإِذْ تَقُولُ لِلَّذِي أَنْعَمَ اللَّهُ عَلَيْهِ وَأَنْعَمْتَ عَلَيْهِ أَمْسِكْ عَلَيْكَ زَوْجَكَ وَاتَّقِ اللَّهِ. When you say to the one who Allah blessed and who you blessed, keep your wife and be conscious of Allah. In this ayah, Allah is reminding the Prophet ﷺ of the advice he gave Zayd regarding his marriage. This is a past event. For this reason, the fi'l mudari translate in the past tense. وَإِذْ يَتَحَاجُّونَ فِي النَّارِ فَيَقُولُ الضُّعَفَاءُ لِلَّذِينَ اسْتَكْبَرُوا إِنَّا كُنَّا لَكُمْ تَبَعًا فَهَلْ أَنْتُمْ مُغْنُونَ أَنَّا نَصِيبًا مِنَ النَّارِ. When they will argue with one another in the fire, then the weak ones will say to those who were arrogant, certainly we were your followers. So will you relieve us a share of the fire? This ayah talks about a scene that will happen in the afterlife. This is a future event, which is why the fi'l after it translates as a mudari.
yeah, this is right. So when you said وَإِذْ تَقُولُ لِلَّذِي أَنْعَمَ اللَّهُ عَلَيْهِ, right, and so the rest of the ayah basically goes back to Maldi. And so we can think of this as ماضي. إذ قلت للذي وإذ قلت للذي, right? And then here فيقول الضعفاء فهل أنتم, right? Allah have the present tense context, right? Then just so this might be a little slightly interesting grammar here, or not grammar, but just meanings. إنا كنا لكم تبعا. So فيقول الضعفاء للذين استكبروا. So the weak ones, they said to those that were the leaders, the arrogant, إنا كنا لكم تبعا. We used to follow you. تبع is we used to be a follower of you. يعني تابعون. We used to follow you. فهل أنتم مغنون عنا نصيبا من النار. So can you make us غني? Can you make us غني or free us, do غنى of us from a portion of the fire? Does that make sense?
No.
All right. All right. Let's see. 3, 4, 5. Let's take a pause here. Let's come back at, it's almost at 10:23. 10:23, and we'll continue the drills.
Sounds good. Thank you.
You're gonna pause the recording for a bit?
I guess so.